On the phone, we have a gentleman I remember playing with the Oakland Raiders back in the 70s and early 80s. This guy was absolutely phenomenal. He would kill the Chicago Bears in any team he played against. The guy just had raw speed and could catch the ball. Cliff Branch. Cliff, I see that you were born in Texas. How did you end up going to Colorado for college? How did Texas let you get away?
That is amazing. You're talking about Texas. I'm in my car driving to Houston, Texas right now.
Probably brings back a lot of memories.
Yeah, but how did I get to Colorado?
Yes.
Well, recruiting. I went to junior college. My last collegiate game as a junior college student athlete. We were playing Blaine Junior College. And after the game, the coach from the University of Colorado came in and said he would like me to come to visit the University of Colorado the next week. And I said I would be glad and welcome to visit the University of Colorado. So I went out to the University of Colorado. They were playing the Air Force Academy. I got to see the Air Force Academy that day and University of Colorado. Had a fabulous weekend on my visit. I remember just flying into Denver. The coach picked me up. We drove through Denver, drove to Boulder, and as we got to the area view of Boulder, as you're coming into Boulder, you come on this mountain and you come down into Boulder, and I'm like, wow, this is breathtaking. And so that Friday, had dinner with the coach. The next day they played at the Air Force Academy, and I got to watch the game. And then that Sunday I got to visit with Eddie Crowder and stuff like that. And I was sold right off the bat when I went to the University of Colorado. It was my first recruiting trip right after my junior college last game, and I went to other universities to visit, but I was sold on Colorado for some reason. To play in the Big Eight, and I was just amazed and how breathtaking the campus of the University of Colorado. So that's how I got to the University of Colorado.
You were a track athlete too. Was it tough playing at Colorado with that high altitude, or did it help you as an athlete?
Well, I ran a 10 flat 100 meters. That broke the NC2A's record in the track meet, and I held that for many, many years. And I also was a Texas relay champ, a Kansas relay champ, the Astrodome championship, Drake relays champ, Penn relays champ. So I don't think it affected me at all because I was a world-class sprinter at the University of Colorado. So no, not at all.
Was your coach accepting of you playing track and also playing at football?
Beg your pardon?
Was your football coach accepting of you wanting to be a track person besides playing football? Because a lot of universities just wanted guys to specialize in one sport.
Oh no! They wanted track coach wanted me to compete in track and field because I always did the double. From high school to junior college to University of Colorado. I was a world class sprinter, so how could you not want me to compete in track and field along with my student athlete in football?
Was there any chance that you were going to be able to compete in the 72 Olympics?
Yeah, I had qualified for the Olympic trials because of my time, but that's the year I got drafted by the Raiders, and the Raiders was real concerned. But to go play professional football and get drafted by the Oakland Raiders and play for the Oakland Raiders was a dream come true because I wanted to be a great wide receiver in professional football and get drafted by the Oakland Raiders and to play with a half a training camp with Warren Wells, Fred Belinica, and Raymond Chester. Man, I mean, here I'm going into an organization that are competing for playoffs, championships, and Super Bowls. So I'm like, wow. I was blessed to get drafted by the Oakland Raiders and go to a team that had great history of the passing game.
Did you know the Raiders were going to draft you?
Not at all. I didn't have one interview from the Raiders. I did fill out a questionnaire, They did send me a questionnaire, and I filled that out. But that's the only contact I have with the Raiders.
So did Al Davis call you and tell you that he drafted you, or did John Madden, the coach, or the GM?
I didn't even get a call from the Oakland Raiders that they got drafted. I just heard it from I was waiting by my phone all that morning. Never heard from the Oakland Raiders. And then my teammate, Larry Brunson at the University of Colorado, he got drafted by the Broncos. And he just said, "You just got drafted by the Oakland Raiders." I said, "You kidding?" Never heard from them. Didn't talk to nobody. Nothing. Amazing. It ain't like it is today. I never heard from them.
So who was the first person who called you from the Raiders?
Well, nobody. I finally heard from Tom Flores. Tom Flores, I was doing track season. Tom Flores called me and he said that he was the receiver coach for the Raiders about a week later, and said that he was going to come out and spend a week with me. He said, "I know I'm in track and field right now, but he wanted to come out and spend a week with me and meet me and go over different type of releases in the passing game, you know." And I said, "That'd be great." So he came out and spent a week with me. We would practice every day, running routes for about an hour after in the morning before my track session and stuff like that. So, and that's how that worked out. And so that Saturday, Al Davis flew in, and then we went over to Folsom Field. That was where the University of Colorado had the football game. That's where we played our football games. And I probably worked out 30 minutes for Al Davis. He said he saw enough. And I was like, wow, I didn't really do anything. But I guess he wanted to meet me and just see me run a few routes and introduce himself. And then we went up to the athletic department, and I showed them my University of Colorado highlight film, because we finished number 3 in the nation that year. The first time in NC2A history that the number 1, number 2, and number 3 teams all came from the Big 8. So we saw the highlight film, and then so when the track season was, after I had the NC2A track and field championship, the Raiders had a rookie camp, and then I came out, signed my contract, and officially became an Oakland Raider.
What was it like being with the Raiders then? Because, again, like you said, they were known as a passing team. Did you step right in, or did it take a little while to adjust to their offense?
Not at all. Matter of fact, my rookie year, Mike Siani was drafted number 1. John Bella, offensive tackle, was number 2. And then I got drafted in the 4th round, and Alonzo Tonka was also drafted on that team. And so I ended up beating Mike Siani out, coming out of training camp. I beat him out and started the first game of the season. And then Kenny Stabler beat out LaMonica. We both started the first game of the season. And then it was a horrible day. I'll never forget that. We had drop balls. Pass protection was horrible. Running backs were fumbling the ball. And then in the second half, John Madden decided to put in George Blanda. He said, going to change the pace. And then he pulled Kenny Stabler out, put George Blanda in. I'm running a post pattern. I'm 10 yards behind Mel Blount. George Blanda hauls the ball up. I make a complete turn to make an adjustment to make the catch. And I'm trying to cradle the catch, and the ball went right through my arms. So after that, John Blanda pulled me, put Mike Siani in. He was the number 1 draft choice. And Darryl LaMonica threw 2 touchdown passes to Mike Siani, and I never got my job back. and Kenny Stabler never got his job back. Opening day circumstances, I had to sit for 2 years as a third wide receiver till Mike Fianna got hurt in 1974. I got the starting job again, and I made All-Pro 4 straight years.
Who worked with you? Was it Tom Flores or was it Fred Blitnikoff, Raymond Chester? Who helped you become a better receiver?
No, it was Tom Flores. He was the receiver coach. And then you watch Freddie, you watch Raymond Chester, and then you watch how they release against bump and run, how they run patterns, how they run their releases, how they run the ins and outs, and, you know what I mean, and break on a precision cut and stuff. So you learn these things just from watching. But Tom Flores was the receiver coach. He was the instrumental guy in teaching me my rookie year.
What was John Madden like as a coach?
Well, John was the kind of guy that he would have only 3 rules: pay attention when you come to meeting, play hard, and go like hell on Sunday. And he gave us a lot of rope. He was a fun-loving guy. We didn't make a lot of money in those days, so finding guys was out of the question because they didn't discipline guys for finding and stuff like that. But he knew he had a bunch of winners on his team, so he ran a loose ship because our players was going to always show up on Sunday and win football games.
You mentioned that you became a starter in '74. When you went to that first Super Bowl, what was that experience like?
Super Bowl 11?
Yes.
Confident. Truly confident. For 4 straight years, we lost to the Dolphins in the championship game. Then we lost to the Steelers 3 straight championship games. And then finally beating the Steelers to go to the Super Bowl. So we knew whoever the championship games that we lost, the team that won the championship game always went to the Super Bowl. So here we got the Steelers for our 3rd straight championship game, and to go to the Super Bowl, just confident. There was no doubt we was gonna get the job done. We were 16-1 that year. We only lost 1 game, and so we were very confident. Kenny Stabler on offensive day that Thursday, I think he completed 15 straight passes in a row. That's how accurate and how timing he was. He was just uncanny on offensive day that Thursday. So we know he was ready to go, and on Sunday it was going to be a total domination, and the results turned out to be that way.
You played in 3 Super Bowls, won all 3. Did you have a favorite Super Bowl?
Of course, the first one, finally getting there. I was in 4 straight championship games and lost, and then the 5th championship game we won. So, yeah. It was the first one because it was a dream come true. It was real, and our time was now, and it has to be the first one.
Was there a cornerback that gave you the hardest time to get away from?
Yeah, Willie Brown and practice, and Mike Haynes in practice every day.
What made Willie so tough?
Willie's a Hall of Fame. Mike Haynes is a Hall of Fame. When you go against those guys and practice 6 days out of 7 days and play on Sunday, it becomes very easy on Sundays to go against your opponent because you practice against a Willie Brown every day for 7 years and a Mike Haynes for 8 years. So, and those guys are in the Hall of Fame, so it don't get no better than that.
What was Al Davis like as an owner?
A pioneer, a maverick, believe in winning, nothing less than winning, but very loyal to his players. Always put us in a position to win the 15 years I was there. Cause you think my 15-year career, I only missed the playoffs twice. I was in 7 championship games out of a 15-year career. So that speaks for itself. Always, we were always knocking on the door. He always got the players for us to compete at a high level and to compete for championships. So he would do anything possible to prepare his team to have the best athletes on every given Sunday in NFL game day.
You mentioned some of the quarterbacks, Daryl LaMonica, Ken Stabler. You also had Jim Plunkett. How hard was it to adjust to all these different quarterbacks? Because it seemed like every couple of years there was a new quarterback.
Well, it's all about seeing the ball and concentrating and making the reception. Kenny was the most accurate. Blanda, I caught his last touchdown pass that he ever threw, 1974 Monday Night Football. So then I had LaMonica threw me my first touchdown. Kenny Stabler threw me 44 touchdowns in a 8-year, 72 to 79, 7-year span. We had 44 touchdowns. So I had the best combination when Kenny became the starter and I became the starter. 44 touchdowns over close to 6,000 yards. So I had all my production basically with Kenny Stabler. But me and Jim Plunkett have an NFL record, 99-yard touchdown. We've shared with about 13 players, so we'll always be in the record books because that record can never be broken. It's the longest pass in NFL history that has been tied 13 times or 14 times, and we have that record along with 13 other players. So they say records are made to be broken. That record was never broken. And then I touchdown pass from Dan Pastor, David Harm, Mark Wilson. So I had my share receiver. Basically, it was with Kenny Stabler and Jim Plunkett.
Kenny just passed away. He seemed like he was just a great guy, fun to be around. Was he like that way on the field too?
Yeah, Jimmy. I love that man. He was a great man. Truly would miss him. R.I.P. for him, and he's up there with the Angels, but should be in the Hall of Fame. He was just a phenomenal guy. Popularity, you can rate the top 10 raters of all time, but for his popularity, Kenny is number one of all time in rated history for us, loved the most.
It seems like that the Hall of Fame forgets Raiders. It's hard for you guys to get in. I mean, I don't know if it's because of Al Davis and his personality with the NFL, but again, Kenny should be in, Plunkett should be in, Raymond Chester should be in, you should be in. Your coach, Tom Flores, won 2 Super Bowls. He's not in. I don't get it.
Well, Al Davis took on the league and beat him. And so there's a lot of political things because of Mr. Davis. Now that maybe he's resting in peace and things will get better for a guy like myself. Surely Tom Flores. I mean, come on. Played the game, got 4 Super Bowl rings. One as a player with the Kansas City Chiefs. 2 as a head coach and one as an assistant coach. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, his resume and some of the people that he coached against and beat these guys that are in the Hall of Fame. So that's a sad one. Kenny Stabler, a finalist twice. How do you become a finalist twice and not be in the Hall of Fame? He's been a finalist twice. How do you go from being a finalist to disappear and not even on the all-time committee? Something political wrong with that. Myself and Lester Hayes. So you got 4 people right there, and then Jim Plunkett. He can't be forgotten. So I mean, guys that have won Super Bowls, Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. Kenny Stabler was one of the quarterbacks in the 70s that won a Super Bowl. All the quarterbacks in the 70s are in the Hall of Fame, and Kenny's not. Something's wrong somewhere. So
no, you're right. Terry Bradshaw. You got Bob Greasy. He was just as good as those 2.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, you look at his numbers. They were doing a comparison I saw the other day, and his numbers, for his, and he had a better record against Greasy he had a better record against Bradshaw and head to head, and not calling the championship, but head to head. You know what I mean? So he had winning records over Bob Greasy. He had winning records over Terry Bradshaw. And Terry Bradshaw has mentioned that Kenny deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Roger Staubach said it the other day too. He beat Francis Tarkenton too. All these guys in the Hall of Fame. It's so political, but that's life.
What upsets me about Dungy is Tony Dungy is they keep saying he should be in the Hall of Fame, the first minority person, great coach. Okay, but last I checked, Tom Flores is a minority too.
No question about it. Yep, Tom was the first minority coach to be hired in the NFL.
And the win a championship.
No question about it. So it's so political, but that's
exactly.
But it's never too late. Whenever it comes down, and maybe Kenny will get more votes, maybe Flores will get more votes, maybe they'll get in there. I just was at a golf tournament with Tom, and he said, "You going to Hall of Fame this year?" I said, "Yeah," because we had two former Raiders in there. We got Ron Wolf. He was more like the general manager when I was with the Raiders, and then I saw him this past weekend, and I said, "Congratulations! I'll see it in Canton." And then yes, I'll be going back to Canton. I went to Canton last year to see Ray Guy, so I'll be going to Canton again this year. So yeah.
And your centers there every year, it's just so heartwarming. I mean, again, Jim Otto lost his leg, but he's there battling every year, going to the Hall of Fame, supporting the Raiders and the other Hall of Famers.
Yes, sir. No question about it.
Lots made of Raiders with the stick of Lester Hayes and Fred Blitnikoff. Was there that much of an advantage using that stuff?
Say what now?
A lot is made about the stickum with Lester
but everybody
Hayes.
used it. It was legal. Every team used it. Every team in the NFL used stickum. Freddie and Lester got a lot of notoriety because they were on television all the time. But it was legal. Everybody used it.
I heard the reason the NFL outlawed it was not because of an advantage of the players, was because the footballs were getting ruined and the NFL didn't want to keep spending money on new footballs. They figured they were going through footballs too quick.
Yeah, well, I don't know why they outlawed it, but everybody wears the gloves now.
And it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
When you played, again, you were fast, but again, you had great hands. How did you get such good hands? Was it just practice, or there were some drills you did?
Oh, just working with Blitnikoff, And the biggest thing with Blitnikoff, he always used to say to me, "Make your hand become a glove. Spread your fingers. If you put your hand up and you spread all your fingers and your fingers apart, they are like a glove." And that was the biggest thing that I used to, when I was in college and high school, I never were taught to spread my fingers. And the key was spreading your fingers. Make your finger like a glove. That'll spread it. So just those instructions was very helpful.
You played in one of the most violent games of all time. I think the 1984 game against the Bears, when the Bears were just knocking out your quarterbacks left and right. What was that game like?
It was a defensive battle. It was two best defenses in pro football going at it. I didn't even play that day because I had a hamstring injury, so I was out of the game. But it was just vicious hitting. Walter was in that game, and to knock out McMahon, and that knocked out both our starting quarterbacks. So we were down to pretty much Ray Guy was warming up on the sideline, and he wasn't too excited about going in and play quarterback, although he was the third string quarterback. But he hadn't really taken many snaps on us, but it was just such a hard-hitting physical football game.
Was that the toughest defense you ever went up against?
The toughest defense I ever went up against?
Yes.
No, the Miami Dolphins when they was running that what they call it, the 53. What they call that Miami Dolphins defense back in the day when they went to the Super Bowl? Like,
In the early 70s or the defense in the early 80s?
when they went to the Super Bowl when they were undefeated.
Oh,
They had a name for that defense. They were pretty good. The Steel Curtain was awesome. The Orange Crush were awesome. So those defenses stand out in my mind are the toughest defense. But that Bear defense was incredible what they accomplished and the success they had and then going to the Super Bowl, and I think they only lost one game that year.
Yeah, I think it was the no-name defense.
The no-name defense, yeah.
Did you have a favorite coach to play for?
Do I have what now?
A favorite coach that you played for?
Oh, without a doubt, it would be John Madden and Tom Flores. I only played for two coaches. John for 7 years and Tom for 8 years. So Tom went from receiver coach to head coach, but John Madden was just fabulous. The way he was able to manage characters and stuff like that, and personalities and stuff like that, and and he was able to relate to the different personalities of the Raider teams in the 70s. And again, he gave guys a lot of rope. He'll tell you he gave them a lot of rope because he know they will come and play hard on Sundays for him.
You mentioned Al Davis with his former players. Every former player I talked to loved Al Davis. He basically said, when you're a Raider for life, and every player said that. I mean, again, Fred Blitnikoff coached for years, Willie Brown coached for years. Again, you're part of the organization for years.
Years. Gene Upshaw was president of the Players Union. So you had these men to go on to be very successful as a coach, or in public relations, or public relation with player relationships, such as Upshaw being the player rep and working for the union. So you had these men under Al Davis' leadership and guidance who were able to take something from Al Davis' wisdom and stuff and follow along in their life with it.
It's an absolute shame you're not in the Hall of Fame again. The NFL better get this right and get you in there with some of your teammates, hopefully in the next couple of years again, because I don't want to see Ken Staber go in now because, again, I would have rather him enjoy it while you're still alive.
Yeah, but it's never too late. I mean, he's not here anymore. He's passed, but he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He has grandkids. He has daughters. He has partnerships, so it's never too late. If it happens now, just like when Bob Hayes went in, he wasn't able to draw the fruits of it because how could he have not gone in this way before he actually finally got in?